Interplay started having financial difficulties. And then Descent 3, which got very strong reviews, did not sell that well. And they weren't sure that they wanted a Descent 4. And they wanted us to do something else, and I said, well, we don't have to do something else for you, you know. And the reason I said that was, I'm worried about doing something else with you guys. So, you know, you have to fund Descent 4. We have a contract for that, but if you don't want to, you know, we can part ways, which is what happened. But we couldn't take Descent 4 to another publisher. Interplay owned the publishing rights to it. So we converted it, I shouldn't say that. So using some of the code and the tools from Descent 4, we ultimately made Red Faction. Red Faction was another game that started life as a PC title, moved over to console with all the baggage of the PC.
You know, developing for the PC is pretty hard. The hardware is never really entirely known. You know, you've got all these video cards, and it's a lot of work.
It was really, you know, just going out and tackling all these really difficult design and gameplay and technical problems. Each individual problem was, in and of itself, you know, very difficult and very challenging. But that team of people, that group of people, just, you know, ran headlong into the challenge, and torpedoes be damned.
Yeah, I think Volition is known for really pushing the envelope and trying things that other people haven't tried, and possibly for good reason they haven't tried them, you know. And usually we push the envelope from the technical side. It takes some time and effort and discussion and back and forth to really figure out how to work some of this stuff into the gameplay. Destruction, for example.
We've always been very technical. I think we've never been ones to really think about licensing too much in the way of technology. I think the guys here would just rather write it themselves. Mike and Matt we're both programmers. You know, they formed the company originally. I think that really set certain things in motion in terms of the culture. I think it just, you know, they were just always really avid technical developer, problem solver guys.
So I talked to our lead programmer, and they said, well, we're going to have to cut the bot AI. We don't have anyone to do it. We don't have time. It's too risky. And I said, well, if it's cuttable, then if I do it and it doesn't work, we haven't lost anything. And if I do it and it is okay, then we can ship it in the game. And he said, yeah, okay. And I said, well, do you think I can do this? And, you know, I was his boss, and I hired him. And he said, yeah, I think you can. I don't know if it's like, what have we got to lose? So I did it, and it was okay. It was the first time I'd ever programmed on a console game, so I'm programming as if I'm doing PC code. And then I would, you know, rewrite it all. It's like, oh no, this is console code. You know, I had to change some stuff in there, fortunately, before I checked it in. The Descent fans on the team called it a ground pounder. I don't know how common of a term it was at the time, but it was certainly a disparaging term. It's like, why are we not making this game I wanted to make? We're making a ground pounder, a first-person shooter. I think a lot of the company thought Summoner is going to be huge, and Red Faction, I hope we can make this game better. And really the reverse actually happened. And I think when you're close to a game, you just don't know. You know, you're enmeshed in it. Sometimes you just think it's going to be a turkey, and sometimes you just get, you know, you just believe everything you're doing is great, and you're not able to be objective about it. So for whatever reason, a lot, certainly not all, but a lot of people on the Red Faction team thought, God, I'm working my butt off and I'm working on a game that's going to stink.
Man, was I a fool.
Well, there's certain things that definitely make development cycles feel like Volition cycles. I'd say things looking like they're just never going to make it on time, and then, you know, everything just coming together almost magically, you know, near the end. I think that's something we don't particularly like. It's in our blood somehow. We just can't seem to help ourselves. We just keep putting more things in, you know, and it makes our titles great, but it makes them really hard sometimes, especially in the later stages when it's like, yeah, we got to get it done.
About 2 weeks before we were supposed to submit, I called my boss and said, I think we need more time to make this game better. Really, we didn't have a prayer. We wouldn't admit it to ourselves at the time. It was only when we were about 2 weeks away when we said, this is not going to happen. And they gave us 2 more months, I guess. But people were working really hard up to that point trying to submit that game. And then we said, good news, we've got 2 more months for you to work really hard so we can submit this game. So it was really, in some ways, typical of many game developments. But it was an intensely difficult development cycle for those guys. I guess we started development on Red Faction 1 in June of '98, and we shipped it in May of '01. So for us, that was an incredibly long development cycle. And I remember when the game was done, but it wasn't out in stores yet, but it was done enough that reviewers had, advanced copies had gone off to reviewers. And I'm at E3, and our PR manager is walking up to me. I got the first reviews, and I'm thinking, oh my God. I couldn't read her body language or her facial expression. I didn't know what they were going to be. And they were good reviews. They were like 9, 9.5. And Red Faction did extremely well.